Welcome to another episode of the AW Confidential podcast. On this episode, I'd like to talk about the holidays. According to a survey done by the American Psychological Association, 38% of people surveyed stated that stress was one of their biggest concerns during the holidays. This magical time, as I call it. It can lead to depression, anxiety, and sometimes a little bit too much drinking among some of the problems that arise and how we cope with them. Some of the complaints were lack of time, financial pressure, aka holiday spending, gift giving, family gatherings, and more arguments, believe it or not. So, on this episode, I want to get into the aspect of the dilemmas that come up, the conflicts that come up for millions of people. There are tons of challenges. Today's guest is going to help us break down some of the do's and don'ts during the holidays and offer insight on some of the most common dilemmas we encounter in a relationship at this time of year and when you're not in a relationship or in a relationship by yourself. Spicy Mari is a relationship expert, matchmaker, and founder of The Spicy Life. She focuses on helping individuals and couples unlock the power to attract their purpose mate and find love. Her impressive background includes a bachelor's in communications from the University of California-Berkeley and a master's in communication from USC. Quite the impressive credentials. She is also an accredited international dating coach and has been featured on the Tamron Hall Show, Access Hollywood, Daily Pop, NBC Access Live, VH1's Basketball Wives, BuzzFeed, Essence Magazine, iHeartRadio, and more. Mari, that was a mouthful.
Whenever I hear it, I'm always like, damn, your girl did her thing. Okay.
You have. Congratulations. And you are a new mom. So
I
congratulations.
am. Thank you so much. Yes. Craziest role I have taken on thus far.
Oh, congratulations. It is definitely such a joy. And I think now that you have the baby, the holidays will become even more amazing because I believe that when we have children, we sort of see the holidays through their eyes. And I think it's very different. But just like we're moms and we're
Yeah.
seeing holidays through the, eyes of our children, there are people who don't get to see that magic. And
Yeah.
it can be a really lonely time. So I want to start with our singles out there and talk about being single during the holidays. And this is, I think, a hot topic every year because
Yeah.
people get lonely. And now that we're focusing on mental health, after the past couple years, I want us to sort of get into how can, our singles sort of move away from, that feeling of not belonging, that feeling of not having, maybe what everyone else might have or what they're seeing on social media, which I think is
Yeah.
huge
Oh my
because
gosh.
it's like one big ad, right? So, what can you share with us about being single during the holidays? Should our ladies or our gentlemen just sort of pause on dating? Should they continue? What's your take on this being single during the holidays?
Okay. So this is a great question. I am a firm believer that if there is something that you want, okay, if you are seeing yourself as without partnership or without, love, or maybe you're not able to celebrate with your, family, and you are feeling the emotion that you said of loneliness, right? Alone. So isolating yourself isn't going to make you feel better. And there's no way that I'm going to be able before Christmas and New Year's and even Valentine's Day to even get you into a new belief that you've been believing all of your life, right? I can't convince you of a new belief that like being by yourself during, the holidays is fabulous. And if you just tell yourself that 20 times, you're going to believe it absolutely untrue. As a coach, it is unrealistic for me to get you there. What I can do, though, is help you make the behavioral change to get closer to what it is that you want. So then we can change the emotion that you've associated with it. So my go-to is always do the behavior that serves you. So if you want companionship or partnership and you're looking at the holidays as this negative experience, right? Maybe you have to go home and your family's going to ask you, where's the babies? Where's the husband?
Latinas out there.
Right. When are you going to give me grandkids? If that is the case, then what is something right now that will serve us to getting closer to our relationship goal? The relationship goal is companionship for the year 2023. Not dating is not going to get you there. What I always like to start with, though, is have you done the self-growth? Have you done the personal work so that you can heal childhood trauma, so that you can get over limiting beliefs and get yourself to a new place of appreciation and awareness, right? That you're able to recognize when the person is in front of you. So like that's some of the preliminary work. Like if you're not in therapy, if you're not in coaching, if you're not doing anything for self-improvement, if you're not taking a workshop or a class, something to pour into your love cup, then you aren't evolving, elevating, and rising to a higher level of consciousness. So that's like the first thing, right? What are you doing for like your self-growth? Second thing is, what are you doing to connect with people on a daily basis? If the ultimate goal is relationship, but you aren't doing a behavior every day to connect with what it is that you believe that you so desperately want to achieve, then I don't believe you. I don't believe that you have that true desire in your heart, because it's, the same person who's saying like, and I use this analogy all the time because it could also be me. This has been me. I want to lose weight. I want to lose weight. I want to lose weight. But then like, I'm not working out. I'm not eating clean. I'm not going to the gym, and, I'm eating, too much, pan dulce. So like, you're not gonna believe me. You're gonna be like, Spicy, I don't really think you want it as bad as you say. So we have to do the actions. And even if that is you guys swiping at least 30 minutes, a day, or going to a new location that you haven't been, going and getting involved in maybe a new passion project or hobby, or, going to a sporting event that you wouldn't usually go to. If we want to be in the vicinity of the type of, person that we want to attract, we need to go to where that person would hang out. So going to brunch with your girls, while that may be fun, if your man isn't going to be there, if he's not a Saturday, Sunday bruncher, at the, Prosecco cafe, he's not going to be, but if he's at a basketball game or at a baseball game, I don't know what sports are going on right now, but I'm just saying.
You're a new mom. I'll give you a pass.
Like go where there's a million men. Okay. So I'm just saying, we have to do stuff. We got to do these things if we want to connect. So that way we're not looking up and saying what it shoulda, coulda, and looking at 2023 again and saying like, where is she? Where is he? We need to go and do something, do a behavioral change that's going to help us connect. Does it make sense?
Absolutely. I love that you're making, others or the audience that we're talking to, you're making them accountable. You have to take action. It's not going to just come to you, during this magical time and everything's just gonna sort of unfold into that fairy tale that we're all looking for. So absolutely, I agree with you. I think it's important to engage, to connect, and as someone who has suffered from depression, I know that it is almost like it's almost like that fallback when you're depressed and when you're sad and when you have the blues, you tend to alienate yourself, which is the opposite of what you should be doing. And I love that you're saying, no, you should engage, you should connect, you should get out there. And I think that's important to highlight. So I appreciate you doing that. So now that we have gone out, we have met someone.
Okay.
For example, we are maybe, I don't know, a few weeks in, maybe we met them already during Thanksgiving and we're going into Christmas. So I wanted your take on the do's and don'ts. This guy or this girl that we just met, Do we take them to that office holiday party? Do we
Mm.
take them to the family gatherings? Do we give them gifts? What are the, sort of do's and don'ts when you meet this, cool person that we are spending time with?
I love it. I love it. This is a great question. The C in spicy stands for communication. What don't we do enough of? Communication. We make a lot of assumptions about what does the meeting the mom mean? What does the holiday Christmas party mean? What does the gift giving mean, right? We make a lot of assumptions based on previous experiences, but not based on the person in front of us. So I say this to say that we should be talking about it. I think that we should have conversations about, absolutely, I would love to take you to the holiday party, or I would love for you to come with me. I think that we should absolutely show the person a good time. We should
But
become more
isn't it
intimate.
But how about that whole notion of, oh, wait, maybe it's too early. Maybe it's too early in the relationship to, introduce them to my coworkers or even bring them home.
If we're enjoying the person's company, okay, it's not so much about, is it too soon or how long should I wait, right? It's more about, I want to see this person in social settings. I want to see, can I take them to a work event? I want to see, does my family get along with them? Because I'm vibing with them, right? And so if we look at a certain like time, then that's going to mess us up. What we need to be looking at is understanding like the value and the intentions behind the invitation. If it's just to get to know you more and spend more time with you, great, but we need to be clear on our intentions. Do you have the same intention with bringing me as I have with you? Because if you're bringing me to see how I thrive with your coworkers, and can you dress me up and dress me down, and my intention is to walk down the aisle with you next week, right? We are not on the same page. And so I think you really have to have a clear understanding of, are you someone who gets easily attached? Do you have more of an avoidant? Do you have more of an anxious attachment style? And so that way you can then pause and say, you know what? I already know I'm going to go left with this. If I come to your family event, I'm going to be clingy times 300. And I don't like how I am when I get there towards clingy 300, right? Because sometimes that even happens when we become sexually intimate with someone. If we know that about ourselves, let's not do the behavior that doesn't serve our goal. So we have to be very clear on, if I do this thing, this is what it means to me. What does it mean to you if we do this thing?
So
But
you're
we don't
saying
oftentimes
haven't
ask
actually.
that.
Oh no, I mean, as you're talking, I'm going back to my relationships, and I would sort of just wait and see, well, what does this mean? What is he thinking? But I wouldn't ask. Now I'm
Mm-hmm.
older, hopefully wiser, and those questions, I'm like, okay, so it's very different. The mindset is very different.
For
So
sure.
even though it sounds like something that sort of just should be common sense communication, I don't think it always is. I think sometimes you're embarrassed, you're afraid of rejection, which is huge,
For sure.
and
For sure.
and you sort of take that back seat and you're like, "Well, I'll just wait and see and I'll let him lead."
See, I do think that we should allow him to feel as if he's leading. But I also believe that part of our comfort and our security comes from clarity and understanding. And so if the person has not made you feel 100% secure, right? Because I think that trust is a process and it's still being earned, then we then have to have clear communication, because if we're just going based off of action, that's not enough. If we're just going based off of words, that's not enough. In order for trust to really happen, actions and words have to be in alignment. And so I think with a lot of things, there needs to be a clear understanding. And so, me, for instance, when I was dating, everybody got to meet my mom, every single person. It doesn't matter if it was date 1. It doesn't matter if it was date 50, because meeting my mom, was just, she's a significant, part of my life, but meeting her did not have the meaning of what it had for some men. So I had to make it very clear, like, everybody gets to meet my mom. She's crazy. Like, you're going to love her. She's the life of the party. It does not mean more than what other people may think it to mean. And so understanding and having that clarity allows you to not have the expectation where you go and tell all of your friends, like, that we're closer than what we really are, right? But not everybody's as honest, not everybody's as transparent as that. And so I think that when you bring up the point about rejection or not wanting to, feel bad about the response. It's empowering to know. Sometimes it's even empowering to know that somebody doesn't view you the way that you would like them to view you, or that somebody doesn't even want you. Because guess what? Once I know that you're not as into me, or, this doesn't have as much meaning as I'm putting to it, now I can save that space for someone who it will. If I want that precious, valuable interpretation or meaning, if I want this to be something bigger, let me go find somebody who worships my dirty draws. If you don't. Like it's actually a gift when we find out, when we communicate. Does that make sense?
Love that. Oh, absolutely. And as I get older, that becomes more valuable because I don't have a lot of time. I need to know now. So
do not
you
waste
brought
my time.
so you brought up a good point. So now we've been dating this person for a while, and I'm really curious about your answer. And you're like, well, I don't think this is the guy. And for a guy, it can be, I don't think this is the guy or the girl, whoever. But what do you think about ending a relationship, the breakups during the holiday? People are like, no, I'm going to wait till like after New Year. I can't do this during Christmas. I can't do it during Thanksgiving. What do you think about that?
So there's actually a high population of breakups because the expectation around the holiday is that it means something, that it is supposed to signify, us getting closer. And so, and that's part of what happens with cuffing season is like, we are looking for someone to snuggle with. The weather's changing, and we want partnership during the holiday. We want someone, because we're not going out and as accessible when we're socializing. So we want that like main boo with us. Problem is, some of us look at it as like, well, I want a long-term relationship, while other people are like, oh, I want a short-term relationship. So it winds up actually breaking up right before Valentine's anyways, because you're also spending more time coupling with that person and seeing like, I don't really know if this person is right for me. So if we are going to break up, I say let them go into the new year fresh and re-energized, ready to detox, ready to, go find love, versus stalling and waiting until after the holidays, misleading them. And now, they've started off their year with like feeling like they got bamboozled, versus being very clear, like, I'm not crazy about where this is going, or, I'm not feeling the compatibility. So I think that we need to become more clear with one another, and also stop ghosting. Tell the person why you don't want them.
Oh, that's still going on.
What?
I thought those. Oh, that's a whole nother episode. So for those couples that do stay together or that are even married, there are a whole set of issues that come up in relationships. And I think spending time with family is obviously one of the, things that we do during the holidays. What would you advise to those couples that are struggling with, let's say, toxic in-laws?
Yeah.
I'm sure you've gotten that question, and I'm really curious about that one.
So, okay, so this is more around mindset. All right, a little bit of tolerance too, but like, instead of venting and saying like, oh, it's the holidays and I got to go to my in-laws again, right? If we can change our language and change our thought process to, I'm so grateful I get to hang out with my in-laws, that they're still alive, that my partner still gets to have this, side of the family, that I don't have to deal with a funeral service right now because his mom is still alive and thriving and kicking. And, my child gets to see his grandma. We really do have to insert those positive affirmations in these moments. And the language that we use is very important. How we make our partner feel about their family is very important, because we can make the experience with the family enjoyable or contribute to the additional stress and lack of joy, or like, let's even say anxiety, right? I love my mother-in-law, but there is, I feel like, an additional pressure when you go to hang out with the in-laws to be on, right? To be perfect Mrs. Susie homemaker.
Say the right
and
thing.
say the right thing. You can't really be yourself. I can't curse in front of her. I can't, talk about, the spicy light. Like I can't do much, in front. And it feels sometimes like not just you have to be on, but maybe you have to withhold, or maybe you have to be robotic, or maybe you have to be, can I help you clean? Can I do anything?
It's almost like it's another version of yourself. At
Yeah.
least that's how I relate it, for sure.
Yeah. And, throw a few family members in there who are annoying or, get on your nerves. And it's, it can create, catastrophe or just an unenjoyable, experience. So if you get into the mindset of, these are the memories that we're creating, and these are precious moments that like we get to have a reunion that we're not going to eventually, we're not going to get this back. What do I want? What impression do I want to leave? What do I want these, years to look like in our memories that we create together? And, is there something that I'm doing even to contribute to the stress? Do I have it in my mind that I'm already predicting certain things happening before they do? Therefore, I'm behaving in a way that's also manifesting some of the craziness that's going to go on. And 9 times out of 10, that's usually like what we are doing. We're sometimes contributing to it. So if we can pull back on that and allow ourselves to be present versus anxious about the future, we'll have a more copacetic time. And give yourself like breaks. You don't have to stay with the family the entire time. What I like to do is like make sure I get a workout in when we go visit in-laws for the holidays. Make sure, that like I have some, calls or consultations so I can pour into my cup and feel like I'm accomplishing something. Let everybody know that like I'm reading my book and I want to get to my book reading time and I'm trying to, read for an hour
And that's
a
not
day.
rude, though.
I'm gonna step out.
If they think you're rude.
Well, they're going to think that whether you do it or
That's
not.
true.
If they already think, you know what I'm saying? if they're already judging you, right? If they're going to judge you for going and taking some self-care, that within itself is problematic. So I'm damned if I do, damned if I don't. At least let me pour into my cup, because you guys are about to make hella withdrawals. I need to make sure that I pour into my cup and I'm recharged to be able to give you guys what you need. And I made sure I did this, last holiday. And I thought that my mother-in-law was going to, I thought she was going to take it personal when I wanted to go on, my jog, when I wanted to go to the gym, when I wanted to, go read my book. And actually, she appreciated it. Like I had it in my mind, she was going to, be harder on me about it. And she was perfectly fine when I walked back in the house. She was like, what do you want to eat? What can I get you? But I was already like nervous, like, what is she thinking? So we do it to ourselves sometimes. And oftentimes it's not as bad as we anticipate. It's more of, our fear of the outcome versus like making sure that we're good. Like that needs to be top priority at all times.
Oh man, I love that. I love your attitude. It's just like you own who you are and you protect that space. And I think it's that alone is work. It's, we have to prioritize ourselves. And I love that you're saying these things, because and I've done it in the past. I've sort of put everyone else's needs before mine,
Yep.
and that doesn't make me any happier.
Yep.
So I'm glad that you brought that up. Now, one of the things that also comes up during this time is how, different cultures, different traditions, different holidays, like Christmas versus Hanukkah. How can couples sort of manage that, during the holidays? Because it's really, it can be a struggle, because you
Yeah,
want to make your partner happy, but at the same time, you have your own culture, your own traditions.
for sure.
I know for me, I like, mi moro de guandule, pernil, pasteles. Like I love that, the coquito, and the music. To
For
me,
sure.
that is so important. But I know when I go to his family's house, it's a whole different ballgame. There
Yeah.
is no music, there is no, any of that. So how do you manage that? Because it's really hard.
Yeah, I think that we all have, our own memories, our own life experiences, and we can appreciate our culture and celebrate it without having to take away from theirs. And I think that when you're in a relationship with someone who does come from a different culture, me in particular, I'm Black and Mexican. My husband is Jamaican. And the way that his family celebrated the holidays is very different. He didn't feel any pressure. His mom did all the cooking, but they don't do gift exchange, right? And so he doesn't feel the pressure of like having to come with like the perfect gifts and, asking everybody what they want.
I was
Me, on
gonna
the
get
other
to that.
hand, it's a big production. And then like, I remember our first holidays merging together and his mom, making all this Jamaican food. And, here my mom comes with like, my mom makes Mexican and Black food, right? So we would have like a combo of like gumbo, jambalaya, because our family's from Mississippi, our Black side, and tamales, and his mom being like, what are these? And like, having to explain to her and not being offended, but understanding like this is not a typical dish that they would have at their holidays. So we also have to look at it like, is this a educational opportunity for the person who I love versus me responding with like, how do you not know what tamales are? Like, are you kidding? You know what I'm saying? I could have been offended by that, but instead I'm like, oh no, and then educate me. What is this like dish over here? So I think it's more if we come at it from a perspective of like, how can I celebrate your culture, your music, your family traditions, right? And learn so that like we can carry on some of these legacies. That's like one thing. And then the other thing is like, what new traditions can we create for ourselves? What's going to be like our legacy that we leave? Because most of the time what we're doing is what like our parents did and what our parents did. So what are we setting? What's going to be the tone of like every Christmas we do this, celebration or this tradition, so that way then our son won't be able to say, that his parents taught him that. We're going to create our own new fresh one to add to the pile. And that also makes it more fun. Something from simple as like, okay, we're going to hang a special ornament, or, we're going to, have fun baking, these type of cookies, just anything that you want to add traditionally. What does that look like? What does that feel like? Is it a game that we play? Is it a certain way that we do our gift exchange? How are we going to, not just merge our cultures, but how are we going to create new traditions?
Oh, I love that. And I've tried to do that myself just over the years. I add on to the traditions, and it doesn't have to look exactly the same. They're remnants of it, but it doesn't have to look exactly the same. And I think if we are able to sort of have that give and take, that compromise, I think it can work. It
Yeah,
works for millions of couples.
for sure.
So as I'm wrapping up, I can't let you get away without talking about gifts. I'm a girl's girl. I love my gifts. So what advice can you give us about the whole gift giving thing? Because I think it's become a stress as
Yeah.
opposed to something fun. Is it something where we should be communicating, oh, well, how much should you spend? I mean, I wouldn't do it, but how much should you spend, or how much should we spend on gifts? Do we go by a budget? How do we resolve that? And I know that that's a long-winded probably answer, but just give us sort of some advice or tips that can help with that. Because I think it's, especially
Y'all are
with
gonna hate
social
me.
media. Uh-oh.
Because
Okay.
everything is like communication, right? So I grew up in a household where I never felt like I got the right gift from my mom. So as an adult, I started to say, tell me exactly what you want, no matter whether it was friends, family, and now my partner, who comes from a family that's not huge gift givers, right? I still appreciate gifts, and I want us to make sure that we're getting something that we actually are grateful for and that we're pleased by. Because a lot of times we will say, it's the thought that matters. It's the thought that matters. But I really wish you would have thought more of me. And we don't want that energy, because that takes away from the celebration of someone loving on you. So my spicy tip is, give your partner a list and have a conversation with them, like what do gifts mean to you, and then give them a list of 5 things that you would appreciate, right? We're going to have 5 different price points as well, with the links included, so they can go to either Amazon or Nordstrom's or wherever that gift is, and then tell them, surprise me. Whichever one you feel comfortable with on here, they will bring you joy to get that, and give me your 5 with the links, so I can make sure that I get you exactly what you want, that you're pleased by. And so, and I'm just, and it could be anything, if it's a guy, let him know, send me the Nike Jordan link, the Xbox link, whatever it is, I'll choose, right? But which was what's in my price point. But then also I'm getting the link, so I'm not getting you the wrong color of Nikes. I'm not getting you the wrong cologne. I'm not getting you, I'm giving you what you actually want. So you're pleased. And then I get the gratification of knowing I pleased you. So we're both winning versus this stressful anxiety and pressure that we put on each other to knock it out the park. And we don't really know, they didn't give us the reaction that we wanted, or, we didn't really know, and we're stressing out, we're asking friends, we're Googling, top 10 gift ideas. What does the person really want? And if they tell you nothing, or, they're like, oh, I don't really know, suggest some stuff. Well, what about this? Well, what about, like we can dig more and tell them, it's okay. I want to get you whatever it may need, from if it's a new tool chest to, a new outfit, let me know. And it will make and take the pressure, off of us. It'll make us a lot more pleased.
I love that spicy tip. That actually did make a lot of sense. It takes out the romanticism out of it, but it makes it practical.
But we should be creating romanticism for ourselves throughout the year. Like if, if we put so much pressure on this one thing versus like every month communicating like maybe a need or desire of your heart that you allow your person to give you, or that you communicate through, sharing with them and then allowing them to mirror your behavior. We don't have to wait till the end of the year to fill up our gift love cup. We've been doing it, all along. And it's why we put the pressure on Christmas. We put the pressure on Valentine's Day. We put the pressure on Mother's Day. We put so much pressure on ourselves. And, to the point where me and my husband, even for our birthdays, because our birthdays are his is in December and mine is in January. So Christmas and birthdays, get this, it's a lot for us. But do we want to give gifts this year, or do we want to plan a trip? Like, we have those conversations so that it's not like, wah, 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 I didn't get what I want. Like, look, baby, I sent you the links. I know I'm gonna get something good.
You need to write a book. You need to write a book on this.
It's coming.
So I like to sort of close out interviews with some tips, a mantra, a piece of advice, something that will inspire or empower listeners. So my question for you is, what are your best 2 spicy tips? I love this, spicy tips, for our singles and for our couples going into this holiday?
Okay. So my favorite scripture would be my spicy tip for both of them. Ask and you shall receive, seek and you shall find, knock and the door will be opened. If you're not asking, if you're not seeking, and you're not knocking, closed mouths don't get fed. So once again, the communication, all right. My spicy tip would be to let your partner know, what you're needing, and then, do whatever behavioral changes you need if you're single to, get that partner. Go on as many dates as possible, have a variety, taste the rainbow, experience different things, so that way you get closer touch points to the person who's meant for you. For my singles, especially, go to as many things as possible that you are invited to, especially around the holiday. I don't care what Christmas party, I don't care what Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, I don't care what ugly sweater it is. There's all these parties that are going on. Go to them. Go to, the different Christmas art crawls or, beer fests that are going on. There's so much stuff going on during the holidays, because you don't know who you're going to run into and who you're going to meet. And you don't know what new friends you may make that they introduce you to your person. So you really do need to be as active and social as possible, especially since we're not in COVID anymore and we can leave the house. We need to take advantage of that. And then for my couples, this is a great time for you to be planning and doing intimate activities, with your partner, planning dates. The holidays sometimes can, be so focused on like just Christmas Day, but like, because it is a romantic time of the year, plan, New Year's for you and your partner and where you're going to spend it. As women, we love when a man plans for us, so if he is usually doing that, ladies, take on the role. But fellas, this is a great time for you to take them to the Christmas party, or take them to, there's always, light shows and stuff like that around Christmas, or, to go cut a tree. Like, this is a win-win situation where you don't have to overthink the date planning, but your wife and your, husband, both of you guys still deserve to date, even though you guys are married. So take advantage of the romanticism of the holiday.
Oh, I love that. And you don't even have to spend tons of money. I mean, that costs nothing.
Ice skating.
So,
Take your partner ice skating. Like it's like $18.
Mari, I love you. You know, I am a fan, and I'm sure
Thank
people
you.
will want to find you. So let our community know, how can people find you and find out more about you?
For sure. You guys can always play with my Twitter or stroke my IG at Spicy Mari. Go to thespicylife.com. I have a podcast, The Spicy Life, on all streaming platforms. I have a course that is rolling out every couple months, and my next one is starting in January. Your Purpose Made Awaits. So if you don't have the tools, if you don't know the method and the strategy behind connecting with what it is that you're trying to attract, let me help you. It's a 6-week class. The program is phenomenal. It's based on my spicy fundamentals, and the results are amazing, and your future self will thank you.
Oh, I love you. Thank you so much. Happy holidays.
Thank you.
I wish you even more success, and take
Oh,
care of
thank
that
you.
baby.
I will. It's so cute. Oh my gosh. Follow me and him. No, follow him at Princeton Shay. He has his own
And
IG.
oh my gosh. And thank you guys for joining us on this holiday episode of the AW Confidential podcast. Talk to you soon.